back to a new video for our Valheim. This is Kailey and Michael's kind of perspective on the functionality of our bases. We've heard from both Leonard and Jared for how the bases flow out. As you guys know, if you watch the videos, I didn't build anything. However, I was the main kind of adventurer for this build. Michael, you didn't really play on this build at all, but you're here to give your perspective because you do adventure probably the most out of all of us. So I'll just start here with this gate and this wall. What the guys didn't bring up in their videos, this is kind of going to be, my highlight spot to tell. Nobody knew the timeline of anything, but I did because hot damn was my life hard for a while. This wall went up. It's probably the last thing that happened on this build. And if anyone can notice, that is in fact black forest grass right here. And we got attacked all the time by bad stuff all the time. It was really, really hard. But it was the last thing that went up pretty much right as we got off the game. So it does look nice. It is only, half finished if you do look over here. But it does provide security that we didn't have the rest of the game. This whole courtyard area actually is really nice, but we also didn't get that until the very end. I'll go here since we'll go a different way. This is my little farming area. Leonard made this right off the bat, and it was nice until I had to plant more than one thing. And, I think Jared started out and then Leonard started doing it, but then I took over the farming pretty early on as we got into things, as they were teaching me how to play. Because this was in fact the first game that I played at Valheim. So then Leonard jokes that he gave me this area down here because I needed more space. But yeah, if you saw, if anybody has farmed ever, Mikey, please help me out here. The upstairs space of farmland is not big enough.
Yeah, so I didn't actually know that when we did our first recording. I thought this was just for aesthetics. I didn't know that you guys actually use this.
Yeah,
that's atrocious.
This was my first little farming space, and but then as you can see, right, like we made this area and we had a fence that like I had to ask one of the guys like, hey, could you build me an area? Pretty early on, Jared made this underneath space to run this way actually to go to the Black Forest because I was constantly bringing in stuff of copper and trees and stuff from the area. You could see that I've clear cut over there. But there's more black forest on that side too. So I ended up carting everything over from there to here. So Jared made me this under walkway that Leonard turned to like stone, which was really nice. But yeah, it was really challenging up front because this was the only farm area that like was allotted. And I was like, this isn't great. Yeah, this starting out just kind of on our first section of the house. We've got the bar. I don't think we ever used this. It's purely aesthetic. It's cute. I really like it, but it's purely aesthetic. There's no functionality here. There's nothing. It just looks nice.
It's not even storage, right?
No, there's nothing. Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah. It does look really nice though. Leonard did a really good job on this. It was, the guys have said that it's the first bar. It's really nice. As we go through, right, we got this kitchen. I love this kitchen. It had very nice names. Everything's kind of sectioned out accordingly. But we didn't get this until like midway through the plains-ish area. We definitely had ovens, so we were in the plains. Unfortunately, this playthrough wasn't with Mistland, so when you got to the plains, that was kind of it. So there wasn't a lot of building with darkwood and tar unless you were playing after you beat the last boss, which we normally did not. So I didn't get this. I made a lot of the food, but I didn't get this kitchen until very later on in the game, and so it was hardly ever used. It was really sad that it wasn't like this the whole time, because it definitely was not. I probably had like a little pot, like this was my area, like right here, like these like 10 squares.
Yeah.
And then that was like as big with like storage and stuff. But it was small, and it was sad. And then this was beautiful, but we played for maybe like a day or two after this came up. So but it's really nice. I really like it. Functionality is really nice, right? Like, you've got storage in here for all the food stuff, and then it was really easy making stuff. You've got the bread. I do complain that there was no seating here, because I like to frequently get up and walk away. And so while watching, if anyone's played or done cooking in Valheim, you know that you kind of have to watch the ovens because otherwise your food will burn just like it will over the fire when your like deer meat will turn to coal. The same thing will happen to your bread. So definitely having seating for me to sit and watch and wait because I was constantly doing things. Um, our storage area was really nice. This back end never finished, which I mean, it didn't really matter once we got some kitchen storage up, because as you can see, there's plenty of storage here, and they renamed everything.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that in the kitchen, like the chests, like being sideways as they were.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like I don't know, like it's not enough for the space that it takes up because you can get more
For
out of
the
it. Because they're just normal chests and stuff,
right,
and I see they did it over on the side with
yeah.
the stamina and health potions and everything, where they
Mm-hmm.
made the what reinforced
Mm-hmm.
chests. I was
So
like, I would have thought that they would have made the same ones on these
yeah,
for how much stuff,
so
like especially carrots, turnips, and stuff. Like usually we get a whole huge quantity of that stuff.
yes, so we did when we played. Unfortunately, yeah, you're right. Only our um, potions and stuff came in these big ones. I didn't really run into the issue with carrots or turnips or onions. Well, carrots or turnips because we didn't really eat foods that required those when we got to this spot in the game. I
Hmm.
hardly ever used carrots or turnips. I did run out of space very often for barley. If anyone has done
Yeah, I can believe
um,
that.
because what would happen is I'd get like the barley like bags, and then they would go in there before they became like bread or lox pies or something, and so they would sit in there. But it takes like 20 bags for like one piece of bread, so I was always out of space for barley. So I was a little bit sad that they weren't the reinforced chests, but we were going through food so quickly it kind of didn't matter. Yeah, you
Oh,
can see
this is
this.
for completed food. Okay, I thought this
Yeah.
was for like
No, so these are
all right,
completed foods
okay,
for health, stamina, or
okay,
meads, and then like chore food. But yeah,
okay.
no, so these are all ingredients. But yeah, our actual
Gotcha.
foods over there.
An
Yeah,
actual
I
food.
mean, some of these things like we never really had more than a couple stacks of everything. So
I guess that I guess that makes kind of sense.
right, so
Usually when I'm out and about, it's like I would need way more storage than this. Maybe not for like serpent meat, but like
right,
lox and wolf and boar, deer. It's like I end up collecting way more than I probably use, but I just need that extra storage. Tell me, okay, so I love the seating in here.
yeah, it was
Tell
never
me it
used.
didn't. Tell me it didn't get annoying though, running
I
back and
got in the
forth
way.
through this
Yeah, I
kitchen.
got in the
Yeah,
way. Yeah,
yeah,
it did.
okay.
It did.
Because I was like,
Especially
I
it's
think
right
I've
when you run into, so it's like you gotta like finagle around it,
yeah,
and
and
right here
like
it's pretty close. But
moving
like
between ingredients, it's like I don't know. It's like I would
honestly,
have thought the kitchen or maybe the dining area or whatever you want to call it would have been in a separate area, not where you'd be running around
yeah.
all over the place.
I honestly just kind of stuck to this corner. I mean, I was working a lot with when we got to the plains. We just ate a lot of bread, for like stamina and lox pies for health, and so I kind of actually just stayed in this little corner. I did occasionally go and just like jump over the table to come get like other things that I needed, but I didn't really use this rack for anything once we got here. I did use the cauldron. But like again, it's kind of still encompassed in this spot, so to me it didn't really matter just because this was kind of like a one-off storage, and then more of what I used was over here.
That's
Um,
unfortunate.
so
For as nice as it looks, it sucks that you didn't get to use the whole thing for
right,
the whole playthrough.
right. But I mean, it's really nice. That's kind of how our build goes on this map. I did really like the uh, speakeasy that's down here. I wasn't the one making the potions, so I did actually didn't really use this that often. I did like it though. I think it's fun. I think there's a gross amount of fermenters down
I was
here.
about to say that. I
There's
was
so
like, there
many.
really are. It's
There's
like at a
so
certain point, I
many.
think it's almost for looks at a
Yes,
certain point
I
because
think it was.
it's like, how much are you brewing? Like, what are you guys doing all the time that requires that many potions?
Well, I mean, right, there was a period in time where Leonard and I were playing on this map and Jared wasn't on, so we weren't progressing. We were kind of just playing, and so we definitely had more materials than what we needed at the time. So, I mean, it's not like we just had an obnoxious amount of like bronze and copper and stuff that it made sense that we could just do that, and that was fine. Because it wasn't like we were strapped for materials. Yeah, as you can see, Jared put lighting up. The common joke is that Jared doesn't care about our use of resin, and lighting is the way, which actually is really nice. A lot. I joke about it because the amount of resin we go through is unbelievable when you try to light up a space. But it is actually really nice having it lit up. It's unbelievable. Mikey, really?
What are you
It's
guys aren't coming back? Want to
it's
light it up a little bit?
unbelievable how crappy it is when there isn't any light. But yeah, the gross amount of resin used is just really hard. It got
I'm
easier with
notorious
the.
for non-lighting.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
fuck it.
aware.
I'll be like, I'm in the dark. Be like, okay, I'd rather go to bed than make a light.
So as we
Oh,
get into this
I shouldn't
area,
have done
this
it with
was
this
like
character.
our tool making and other area. So as you can see, this storage back here is actually the same storage. So we try to put anything that we would be crafting into these sections, so you could just
Mm-hmm.
easily grab it into your crafting bench and your forge. The only hard part is that because we do have the crafting table right here along with the artisan table, it's really hard to get to the forge, which is when you're most encumbered. So
Yeah,
like that was a
I would
little
have
hard.
imagined the artisan table would have gone on the other side, but then that doesn't make sense for the forge being on the
Yes.
opposite side.
So
So, like the concept and principle is really great.
in play it was
I
a
would
little
have,
difficult.
yeah, I would have liked to see, like they've got named chests on the opposite side. I would have
Yes.
liked the same
I
thing
was
on this side because it's like,
yes.
unless you play and you just kind of get into that, what do you want to call it?
You
Like,
just knew where they were.
yeah, like automatic mode. Like you're just like, I remember where it is.
Yeah.
It's like you're gonna look there and be like, "Nah, I don't know what I want, and just go through all the chests until you find it.
Yeah. No, I really liked this. I mean, this really worked out as like my first gameplay. I loved having the forge and the crafting table fully upgraded, you know, like right here. And then if you needed something, the storage was right here or your metals were right here. I really, really, really liked when Leonard did this and you could smelt and put stuff in here, like when you were done smelting, and then when you went to go do stuff, it was on the other side. My main complaint is, right, that, okay, you're doing your metals. Well, where's my deer hide? Where's the scraps that I need? Where's the wood that I
Yeah,
need? Where's the guck? Like, it's not here. It's not in the area that I'm doing stuff. So,
I
it's
feel like the only way to get around this is maybe like chop out this portal and kind of make like a horseshoe effect where you're still getting the access from the forge, but then
yeah.
you have an open side to the like the rest of the storage and kind of get
Mhm.
out like I get why this is here, but it like its access is for all the smelters on the other side, so the
Right.
kilns don't need an access immediately to the crafting
Mhm.
workstations.
I will say one of the nice things that I did really like about this, as much as I do kind of harp on the storage not being right next to it, it was really nice that when you portaled in, you hit the forge, you hit the crafting bench, and you're good to go. I can't tell you how many times that maybe the leveled up crafting bench and forge aren't next to each other, so you forget to hit one of them, and then you get to where you're going, and you're like, hot dang,
Right, right.
this hasn't been, um, made better or whatever. But yeah, I really loved. I smelted quite a bit in the first bit before I decided to get off every night on time. That this
Oh
kiln design is
wow.
actually really fun.
Oh,
Because you
that's
would
so
just load it
much.
with wood and then you would stand in the middle and then everything kind of came out in this one area that it was really easy to collect.
Right.
Um, I did like this with the smelter area, right, where it was sectioned off from the kilns, and then it was close to these chests over
The,
here, and then
yeah,
with
the
the
drop
fire is really
boxes.
nice. So yeah, I mean, I liked this area. It wasn't too hard, and then when you were over encumbered, it wasn't really that far of a walk to get to where you were going, so that was really good. Um,
And the metals came over to this storage wall here, or where did the?
where are you? So
Oh,
the finished metals came in here. So they were
okay.
right above the forge. So that was what was really nice about this, right? Is that anything that was actually super heavy was just like right above it, which you could access from there.
Okay.
So that's really nice.
And
I
this
will
was just
say
like community storage and everything.
this really didn't bother me until I was doing these videos, but this area right here is so cramped. It is so cramped. Which, I mean, space saving, love that, but like as I now do these videos each time for the
Like
guys,
the
it's
forge area.
it's so no, just like this one little walkway. I don't know, it's never bothered me before. That's really funny.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, no. So the metals went in here after you smelted them, which you could access on the other side, right? So like anytime you were picking stuff up, it just immediately went here. So you weren't really that encumbered for that long if you picked up more than. Any of the actual ore came in over here. So we've got this walkway that Jared put up right in the beginning. This is the only original structure that was up. Is this walkway? Leonard did choose to keep this when he rebuilt most of this space. It we dragged all the ore up these stairs, and then you would just kind of stop here because it was hard to get the cart everywhere because we just had so many rooms that it was, and nobody wanted to build big enough for a cart, or we had stuff in the way that we just made it a straight shot from the dock right to unload into these chests that aren't labeled but did just have ore in them to go and be smelted. So we definitely never filled them out. They definitely weren't like prioritized into any sort of chest because it was kind of just like this was the dropping point, and then you pretty much dropped it off, and then worked at it to be smelted pretty much right at that time. So
Probably
it
a little
wasn't
difficult to
something
get
that
the
we
cart
just
up
kept.
the stairs too, right?
Yeah, I loved
Right.
this dark area, but we really struggled for quite a while figuring a best way to get the cart up. I mean, you can see that it is definitely quite a haul getting up there. I don't know if I ever did that often, but I know the guys did, and I remember the cart getting stuck a little bit. I mean, you can kind of wobble back and forth, but it is a little challenging to get to the top. I love this main dock area here, but again, right, there isn't anything. It's aesthetic. It's aesthetic. And it's really nice. I did like both access places here and then having the dock protected. I'll say that like that because I can't tell you how many things still swim over here. You can see over here that Leonard's done wall on wall on wall to make it more protected. They like to be in this little party area over here. This wall, before that wall, before the next wall. But yeah, the
Oh my
Greylings
God.
are real, the Grey Dwarfs are real, the Necks are real. Like it was just never ending bad guys to this dock area. And Leonard made adjustments as needed when we did this. It does seem like that very far wall definitely stopped a lot of them coming over here, but yeah, it was definitely a popular place for them to stop. But yeah, down here is very aesthetic. I mean, I can't honestly say that I use it that often other than to get in and out. Getting the cart up here was a little challenging, but we kind of just used the old trick where you picked everything up and sat in the cart and then just like someone else carted you up. And that worked at that time, so that kind of worked out. I do really like this build. Leonard put this up. We were struggling in the first area over there where the kitchen is. That used to be where like our cartography table was, and like our bedrooms were upstairs, we had an upstairs area, and he remodeled that after making this house into the kitchen. But we were struggling for space. We were struggling for space for all of our stuff with all of like our endless treasure, and like you can see here that we've got like all these all of the armor and tools and weapons that were up. I mean, there was a lot of cool things that we had that we just like couldn't really put up anywhere, and it was just crowded in storage boxes. So it was nice having Leonard put this up because it was like a place to really kind of showcase that we had done other things, and a lot of things in Valheim look really cool, so it's nice to see them here. I think he did a really good job decorating this area. This is our highest comfort bonus area, which was really nice when we went out to the portal room, just because it's like you could come in and get your high bonus and then like go back. The only negative part about this portal room in here is that there wasn't really a drop chest. I mean, you can see this here, but this was actually normally full of like building stuff, and like this was our drop chest. But if to the people who know, when you're going in and out of places, you need more storage. You need a lot of storage to be able to drop stuff off easily. So I definitely found myself coming out of a portal and running all the way over to the storage area and then coming and getting my bonus and then going back out to wherever I was going. Because I could easily fill these chests up when going to like the mountain or the swamp or the plains. So like you definitely get a whole bunch of just crap when you go, and then you're like, I just need to put it somewhere.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, this portal area worked out really well. It was really nice when it went up. Everything's right here except for the plains one that's out in the middle of butt fucking nowhere. I mean, that's cool, but yeah, I mean, these are nice. I don't know why we have so many swamp ones. We definitely probably could have consolidated but we do have a lot of other places and that we did go to that like planes could have been in there, but that's fine. It was nice that it is where it is because it was right next to the kitchen, and that's what I really did at the planes was farm. So not
Right,
having to go
yeah.
too far for that was actually really nice, despite that it's kind of out of place in the middle over here. Um, one other thing about this build, right? This is where our bedrooms are. So getting up here was nice. There used to be a door here, and let me tell you, it was really annoying. And after playing for a couple days, Leonard also noticed that and got rid of the door because it was
Oh, yeah.
forever open. And we're just like, why do we have this? He did do a lot of like modifications to this area because it constantly got rained on. But it does look really nice, and you no longer get rained on. But it did go through quite a time that it was struggling a little bit. This was our one communal bedroom, right, which is what we had in the other house. I do really like it up here. The main area, if you try running around, like it is really a tight squeeze between all the beds, which was fine. I mean, we weren't really up here anything more to then drop our actual stuff if we've upgraded our gear or to like actually go to bed. So it wasn't too big of a deal that it's not really that big of a space with all three of us in here. But it does give, you know, a good area to put your stuff. I mean, I believe these are mine over here. And then Jared's are right at the end of his bed. But yeah, I know I complained when these beds got put up. If you see Jared's nice dark bed and then Leonard's fucking princess bed, and then I got this with stone stairs, which is nice. And actually, when he first put it up, I didn't even have both braziers here or both of the lights. It was only one of them because we didn't have the claws. So I was like,
Right.
what is this? I was like, I'm the princess. Why do I have like this like non-decorated bed? Like this is shit. So Leonard quickly built me like a nice little place to put my stuff in the chest underneath. And then at the time that I was complaining, he was building this area, so he also built this deck out here, which is really nice. I claim that this is my deck because it's the one really nice thing that I got, because they both got like a nice view off their sides and space and a nice bed, and I got a nice place to sit. There was in fact a chair out here at one point, but there's not anymore.
I think I remember mentioning that, and like, there
Yeah.
should have been a chair here.
Yeah, you really sassed him, but that's okay. No, I liked this area. I mean, I joke, but this, I mean, it had a really good bonus up here, so going to bed was fine, and everything was always really well lit, so you never got cold, and it really worked out. So Leonard did a good job up here, and it was close to your portal room and other stuff like that. I think the one main issue, despite that I do love this house and all of the main things are here, it's just kind of far. It's just kind of far from the rest of the base and the things that you need. You know, if you were coming back from portaling, like you gotta come over here and fix all your stuff and upgrade your gear. All the storage is over here. You need food, you gotta pick it up. So it's like you came back to that main building and then you really did run to like the compound of like where everything else was.
Yeah.
So I like it with the concept of it being separated, but like using it, it was kind of irritating to run back and forth and not have everything right together. But it ended up working out just fine. We made do, and I mean it's nice. They both look nice, both roomy. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of all I've got for this space. I won't go into all the different portals because they're just houses that we use for like that, you know, one night or 2 nights of stuff. And most of them went up as like a shack and then a fancy shack, except for my hut highway. And yeah, this is where we spent a lot of our time. I think the most spent time elsewhere was the plains farm for me because it takes a long time to get bread. But other than that, yeah, look at all these bees, Mikey. Do you see that?
I know.
Is that insane? Yeah. Well, that's all I've got. What about you? Got any final
Like
send
20
off
bees.
for functionality? I mean, do you like the build? You didn't play on here, so you don't really have any straight up. God, this cart's in the fucking way. This bridge needed to be wider. Just there's no place
Right,
to put
or there to
anything.
be like a dedicated parking spot. No, so
There
like the
used to
whole
be,
thing
but yeah.
looks great for
Mhm.
sure, and it's like there are minor things where it's like this table was one that I said, like, I can just see like small things, and you mentioning things like after a while, like something would start to get irritating, like this just being in the way of me like crossing back and forth to do stuff in the
Right.
kitchen. So, but I mean, all of it looks great.
I mean, yeah, I loved this place. I mean, the whole time it was good. Um, as far as like getting around, I mean, this is my first playthrough, so anything the guys did, I thought was like come to Jesus moment for me, because I had no experience when they had previously played some other maps, so I didn't really know what I was doing until I played. I do have more experience now, but again, like
I am surprised.
I still love these builds. I think they did a really good job. I ended up adventuring out the most and doing a lot of stuff, so I wanted to speak to the functionality of it. And honestly, nothing didn't work out well. I mean, it all worked out just fine. There were minor inconveniences for when I was consistently doing something. It was just like, why am I doing this again? But I mean, there wasn't anything that I found that was hard or that bad. It was just a minor inconvenience. Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
I think they did a good job.
Does this forge repair all of your like
No,
everything? No.
no,
So
because
that
it's
I
not
guess
upgraded.
yeah, I suppose that's one
That's
thing
a
that I
building
think
forge.
yeah, it's like even for like portaling, I think we have grown accustomed to creating another set
Yep.
right next to those portals so you can come back and repair. Same thing for like the rested bonus is like, okay, while I'm getting said rested bonus, I'm going to hit the crafting table and I'm going to hit the forge to repair all my stuff while getting that at the same time. It was like 20 seconds, so it was like it's kind of boring just standing there for 20 seconds to re-get the rested bonus. It's like usually when you're coming back anyways, you want to repair your stuff, so
Right, so
I feel like that could have
you really did just have to sit here. So we would get all prepared for our adventure out because they always did all the big things with me or took me places, because I hadn't played before. So I never really went adventuring without anybody until I was comfortable in what I was doing. But we would sit here, of course, with me in the middle. But we would sit here and wait for our bonus, right? You can see that there wasn't any chest for food to come in, and there's not really any repair tables. So this really was like the final stop before you left out of the portal, where we kind of just like sat and like hung out for like the minute you have to wait for your rusted bonus to kick in. Yeah, it's the little things.
yeah, but I mean, addressing those little things, it's like because eventually it's like it's just repetitive
Mm.
and like you keep doing that, it's like, oh, so like every time that you have to come back and repair your stuff, you can't just come to this one, you now have to run across to the other side of the compound to get it all repaired. It does get a little annoying.
Yeah, yeah. But that's okay. Ultimately, it didn't change, so that's okay. Well, I think this is all that I have for this base.
Yeah, I think you definitely covered. I didn't see, without playing it, I don't know a whole lot to mention on it. I just saw a couple little things that I know would have bothered me, but other than that, like, covered.
Well, thank you for joining us. If you got through the video this far, I appreciate any sort of listening to my rambles and how the base actually was, not just its glorifiedness from the builders, but a different perspective to those who really ran around. Well, we'll catch you in the next video.
Yep, will
Bye,
do.
guys.
Ciao.